AI safety for 2 decades at least.
Yeah. I was convinced we can make safe AI, but the more I looked at it, the more I realized it's not something we can actually do.
You have made a series of predictions about a variety of different dates. So what is your prediction for 2027?
In 2 years, the capability to replace most humans in most occupations will come very quickly. I mean, in 5 years, we're looking at a world where we have levels of unemployment we've never seen before. Not talking about 10%, but 99%. And that's without superintelligence, a system smarter than all humans in all domains. So it would be better than us at making new AI. But it's worse than that. We don't know how to make them safe. And yet we still have the smartest people in the world competing to win the race to superintelligence.
But what do you make of people like Sam Altman's journey with AI?
So a decade ago, we published guardrails for how to do AI right. They violated every single one. And he's gambling 8 billion lives on getting richer and more powerful. So I guess some people want to go to Mars, others want to control the universe. But it doesn't matter who builds it. The moment you switch to superintelligence, we will most likely regret it terribly.
I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I don't have time to just be sitting around waiting for something to happen, waiting for somebody to change my life, waiting for somebody to, come and take control and give me some type of, freedom or some type of sign to be able to, oh, this is your chance, right? This is your chance to be able to do this, or, we're going to implement a new law or a new rule to help, our fellow, average citizen to be able to get out of the rut that they're in right now. I don't have time for that, right? We can sit around and we can talk about, oh, how corrupt the American system is. We can talk about conspiracy theories. We can talk about, a shadowy elite group of people who control the world and make the decisions for everybody. We can talk about all of that, right? And I'm the kind of guy who's been into conspiracy theories since I was like in middle school and high school when I first really got into like conspiracy theories. And I won't sit here and deny like I've made a lot of videos like that, and I'll continue to make videos like that. But my point in this video is, what is the point of talking about that, right? If there's no action plan behind it? What is the point of talking about all of these different things if there's no action plan behind it, right? The 4th of July was a few days ago, right? We're a few days out of the 4th of July, right? And you had people drinking alcohol, popping fireworks, having a good time, right? Typically what Americans do on the 4th of July, right? And they talk about how, oh, we understand the sacrifice it took. We understand what freedom is. We understand that, wars had to be fought and wars had to be won and sacrifices had to be made in order to get to the point that we're at right now. This is real freedom. But I beg to differ, right? Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I beg to differ, right? I don't believe that Americans truly understand what real freedom is, right? Because you had one day, right? Okay, you had one day of freedom. Okay, you got to do what you wanted to do on Independence Day. You got to pop fireworks, pop bottles, drink until you're blackout drunk. But where'd you go the very next day? You went straight back to work, didn't you? Because you didn't have a choice, because you got to put food on the table, because you got to pay the bills, because you got to take care of your family. And that's what I mean. In my opinion, right? Now take what I say with a grain of salt. In my opinion, that's not real freedom. Real freedom is sovereign freedom, your own freedom, right? And it just blows my mind. It really blows my mind when people say, okay, we got one day of freedom. We got a weekend of freedom. We can do what we want. But then the very next Monday, right, you start the whole same work week over again. And then it's just a repetitive cycle. And it truly just blows my mind as to people making excuses. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like excuses to me as to why people are justifying, okay, well, this is just the way the system is. There's no change in the system. We already know that, right? That's what we talk about. We talk about how corrupt the system is. We talk about how messed up, society is. We talk about how unfair life is. But the whole goal of life, at least in my opinion, is to be better and to find freedom for yourself, is it not? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the whole goal in life is to just be better for yourself, your family, those you care about, and to find your own life. And so you can just work, so you can live and not survive, right? Especially now, like when you really think about it, We are in the most innovative time of human history, right? We are in the most technologically advanced time of human history. Yet, you still have people making excuses about why they don't take control of their life, why they don't implement these technological advances that we have in the American society, why they basically justifying their own laziness as to why the system keeps them down, right? It just sounds like a bunch of excuses. It just sounds like a bunch of slaves stuck in that slave class mindset, right? And then it makes me realize it truly brings everything full circle. It makes me realize why slavery existed, right? I'm not sitting here saying that slavery is a good thing, but it makes me understand why slavery existed, right? If people are okay constantly being pushed around, slaved around, and told what to do, and just believing everything they say and not making a change about it, especially using all of the advances that we have now, obviously slavery is going to exist. You got the people who actually made something of their lives, right? The I guess, for lack of a better terms, the slave owning class, right, at the top, and then they tell everybody else what to do, right? And nobody and they can do it because nobody does anything about it. Nobody tries to think outside the box, right? Nobody tries to think critically. Nobody tries to think, okay, let me be an intellectual. Let me nobody does any of that. Like, all like critical thinking, excuse me, and and just thinking outside the box, that's rare now. It's a rare thing to do, right? Yet you have people and I'm the one being called crazy, right? Like, there have been so many people that I've spoken to. There have been so many people within the comment section of my videos. Man, there have been so many people, that I would just pitch the idea, right? If they like, sometimes people will come to me for advice, like, what should they do? They don't like the life they're living, and I give them a small heads up of what I would, what I'm planning to do, right? Leave the country, right? I'm going to live somewhere else. I'm going to a different place where I can make I can live the life I want to live, right? I'm jumping ship because I see the direction that America's heading. But as soon as I tell them that, they're like, "What? No, that's not a good idea, man. Anything but leaving the country. This is the greatest country on earth, man. Are you sure you're going to be safe there?" I'd like to believe that I'll feel safer than I would in the United States. It's not like I'm moving to Iraq or Afghanistan or the Middle East, right? I don't even feel safe in half the cities that I've lived in the United States, right? Every other day you get up, you look at the news, or you look at something that's going on in the US, and you see some type of violence or some type of shooting that's going on in the US, and you want to question whether I'm going to be safe in another country. You want to question whether I want to be safe in a country that doesn't even allow guns, or is really quick to put, with a really strong justice system. And you want to see, and right there, it just goes to show you the mindset of where people are. People are too scared, right? People are too afraid to make that leap because it sounds like just excuses, right? Excuses, justifying excuses as to why you won't take life into your own hands, right? I don't know about you guys, but I want to live my life the way I want to live, right? People will bring any excuse in the book. Oh, the world's going to end, so it doesn't matter. We're just waiting on the world to end, so I'm going to X myself out of society. Or AI is going to take over anyways, so nobody's going to have any jobs in the next 3 to 4 years, so it doesn't matter. And then for you overly religious fanatics, right? And I'm not like saying anything bad about like religion necessarily. I don't have a horse in that race, right? I mean, I'll classify myself as a Christian. You got the religious fanatics saying, "Oh, Jesus is coming back, so we're not going to do anything about it." Okay, I agree with you. I agree with you that Jesus is coming back, but I'm not going to sit around doing nothing, right? I'm not going to sit around and continue to be a slave to the system, right? Waiting for AI to take over, waiting for my job to be replaced, waiting for the world to end, or waiting for Jesus to come back, right? I'm not going to sit around and do nothing and make my life worse and continue to live in this slave like existence where before all of that happens, I have an opportunity to be able to make something of my life, right? I have an opportunity to use AI to my advantage. I have an opportunity to go somewhere that I want to go to. I have an opportunity, right? I have the means, I have an opportunity, I have, a chance to do so. So why would I not take it? Why would I not take my life into my own hands and try to make my life as best as possible, right? I see that's the thing that I don't understand about people is like we live in a first world country, right? To all of you American patriots out there, we live in the so my bad. We live in the supposed greatest country in the world, right? Technologically advanced, right? First world country, strong currency system, right? We live in this so-called greatest country on earth. Yet you won't use the same tools that I have access to, you have access to. We in this country have access to. Yet you won't use those tools to better your life. Like it honestly, it's mind-boggling. Honestly, isn't it wouldn't it not be in your DNA, wouldn't it not be in your nature to want to better your life every single day? I thought that was one of the cores of human nature is to just be better all the time and better than you were in any aspect, honestly. But I digress, right? Slaves can only free themselves once they realize they're slaves, right? And most people don't realize that they're slaves in this country, right? Most people don't realize that they are being sold a lie. Now, some people are waking up, but it's not the majority, which is why you still see people, you know, you still got people living in a bubble. You still have people, talking crazy when you bring out, not even outrageous ideas, right? Like moving countries is not an outrageous idea. Like you for all of you Americans that are like unaware, look at our country, right? How many people from other countries try to come here and live, right? They're basically doing exactly the opposite of what we could do in terms of leaving the country, right? Now, that has significantly stagnated because of net negative migration, but you get my point, right? And so honestly, it just boggles my mind as to the excuses that people will use as to why they won't take control of their own life, right? It's the world that we live in. So why would you not use all the tools, technology, and advances that you have to your disposal before all of that runs out, right? Before uh, the world ends, before AI takes over, before Jesus comes back, right? Why would you not try to live your life in the best possible way, right? Why would you not try it? I just don't get it. I seriously don't understand what goes through the minds of half of these people. But to an extent, I guess I do understand, right? Because most people have been sold a lie, right? Most people think that them renting Netflix as a bundle, or let's say like Disney Plus as a bundle included with Hulu or ESPN, that they own that or something, and that's their comfort. They don't need anything else, right? People who have a 30-year mortgage think that, oh, this is my house. I own this. They have the illusion of, oh, this is mine, so I don't need anything else, right? But you're tied to a 30-year mortgage to in a depreciating society, right? And unless you put in significant amount of money to upkeep that house, right, you're not going to sell it for what you got it for, right? Like what are you going to do? What are you going to do with people who think this way, right? And it's like I said, like I'm not sitting here telling people what to do with their lives. I'm not sitting here telling people how to live their lives, right? Like take what I say with a grain of salt if you want. All I'm doing is explaining to you the writing on the wall and telling you like how the world is going on and what direction the world is going towards. Like there's so many opportunities, but people will do anything to justify their laziness, justify justify their excuses as to why they don't want to do a certain thing, as to why they don't want to improve their lives, right? But this is the world we live in. This is the direction that the country is headed towards. So I guess let the NPCs be the NPCs, right? At the end of the day, people are just going to do whatever it is they want to do, whether they believe themselves to be slaves or not, right? Whether they believe themselves to be, you know, worthy to I don't know, to live the life they want to live or not, right? I mean, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030 and beyond, right? It's coming. And one thing that people have to realize, and I think, and I'd like to put some very big emphasis on that, on this. One thing that I believe people should realize is that whether you do something or not, whether you change your life or not, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Whether you decide to change your life or not, whether you decide to do anything with your life or not, whatever is going to happen, whatever is already in place is going to happen regardless of whether you do it or not, right? So we already know AI is going to take over, right? AI is predicted to take over 90% of human jobs, right? That's going to happen no matter what, whether you decide to change your life or whether you decide not to change your life. So you do the math. Why not get as much money as you can? Why not use AI to your advantage? Why not use all these tools to be able to use that to your advantage before it takes over, before you can't use it anymore, right? The only constant in this world is change, right? If change didn't happen, we would still be in the Stone Age, right? What would happen if during the Industrial Revolution, right? What would happen? What would happen if back during like the 80s and the 90s, with the development of technology, we decided to stop there because the majority, because some people were just like, oh no, it's dangerous. We don't know what's going to happen, right? What would happen? Like we'd still be living like pioneers, right? One thing that I think people really need to understand is change is the only constant and change is inevitable. It's going to happen, right? So before what's going to happen inevitably happens, why not use all of these things to your advantage? Why not use the tools that we have now to your advantage to live a sovereign life and create a sovereign life? The choice is yours, but time's running out. I'll see you guys in the next video.